The flashlight beam cut through the darkness like a blade. Officer James Carter stood completely still. His hand hovered over his radio. Something was wrong. Very wrong. He had walked these halls of Windsor Castle 1,000 times. Every corner, every door, every shadow. But tonight, something felt different. The stone wall in the East Wing corridor looked ... Off. James stepped closer. His boots echoed against the ancient floor. The wall should have been solid, but when he pressed his palm against it, he felt cold air seeping through a crack. His heart began to race. 20-3 years. That's how long James had served as a royal guard. He knew every secret passage listed in the security files. This wasn't one of them. He pushed harder. The stone shifted. A hidden door. His radio crackled. Carter, status report. James hesitated. His finger pressed the button. All clear in East Wing. Continuing patrol. Why did he lie? He wasn't sure. Instinct, maybe? Or curiosity? The door groaned as it swung inward. Darkness swallowed the threshold. James raised his flashlight and stepped inside. And if you want to hear what happens next, don't forget to subscribe and turn on notifications so you never miss a story like this. The room was small, maybe 12 feet across. The air smelled of old paper and lavender. His light swept across the space. A desk. Bookshelves lining the walls, but it was the photographs that made him freeze. Dozens of them, covering an entire wall. Some in frames, some pinned with thumbtacks. All of them showing the same woman, Queen Elizabeth. But these weren't official portraits. These were personal, candid, moments stolen from private life. Her laughing at a garden party, reading alone in a window seat, walking with her corgis at dawn. James felt his throat tighten. This was someone's secret sanctuary. He moved deeper into the room. The desk was covered with handwritten letters, journals, a fountain pen lying across. It's an open notebook. He shouldn't read them. He knew that. But his eyes caught a line written in elegant cursive. Some days the crown feels heavier than others. Some days I just need a place where I can remember who I was before I became what everyone needed me to be. The handwriting was unmistakable. This was her room. The Queen's hidden room. James stood in stunned silence. How long had this place existed? Who else knew about it? And why had it been kept secret from the security team? His radio crackled again. Carter, we need you back at the checkpoint. He stepped toward the door, his mind spinning. He would report this. He had to. But first, he needed to understand what he had found. As he reached the threshold, something caught his eye. A calendar on the wall. Today's date was circled in red ink. Beneath it, 2 words written in that same elegant script. Final visit. James felt ice crawl down his spine. Final visit? What did that mean? He stepped back into the corridor and carefully closed the hidden door. It sealed perfectly, invisible once again. But as he turned to leave, he heard something that made his blood run cold. Footsteps coming. On the corridor, rapid, purposeful, and then a voice he recognized instantly. James. He turned. Kate Middleton stood 10 feet away, slightly out of breath, her expression urgent. I need you to take me to the room you just found. Right now. James stared at her. His mind went blank. How did she know? Kate's eyes were intense, focused. She wore a simple coat over casual clothes. No security detail. No announcement. She had come alone, Your Grace. James began. There's no time to explain, Kate interrupted. She glanced down the corridor. I know you found the hidden room. I need to go inside. James felt his training kick in. Ma'am, I haven't reported this yet. I don't understand what's happening. Kate stepped closer. Her voice dropped to almost a whisper. That room belonged to someone very important. Someone who trusted very few people. And tonight, something needs to be retrieved from it before it's too late. Too late for what? Please, James. Her expression softened. I'm asking you to trust me. He had served the royal family his entire adult life. He had sworn an oath. and something in Kate's voice told him this wasn't about protocol. This was personal. He nodded once. This way. They moved quickly down the corridor. James kept checking over his shoulder. If anyone saw them, questions would be asked. Questions he couldn't answer. He stopped at the wall and felt for the hidden seam. His fingers found it. The door clicked open. Kate exhaled slowly. Relief, or maybe sadness. James couldn't tell. She stepped inside. He followed, closing the door behind them. The flashlight illuminated the small room once again. Kate stood motionless, taking it all in. Her eyes moved across the photographs. The desk, the journals. Then she spoke, her voice barely above a whisper. She told me about this place 3 months before she passed. James felt his chest tighten. The Queen? Kate nodded. She walked slowly to the desk, her fingers trailing along the edge. This was her refuge. The one place where she didn't have to be Queen Elizabeth, where she could just be Elizabeth.
Yes.
She picked up one of the journals, holding it carefully like something fragile and precious. She said that when you carry the weight of a nation for 70 years, you need a place to remember that you're still human, that you still have thoughts and feelings that belong only to you. And James watched as Kate's eyes filled with tears. She blinked them back, but one escaped, tracing down her cheek. She made me promise something, Kate continued. She said that one day someone would find this room, and when they did, I needed to come here immediately, before anyone else, before it became public, before it became another piece of history to analyze and debate. Why? James asked softly. Kate turned to face him. Because there's something here that can't become public. Something she wrote. Something true and honest and deeply personal. And if the wrong people found it, it would hurt people she loved. She moved to the bookshelf and ran her finger along the spines. She stopped at a thin leather journal, different from the others. Older. She pulled it free and held it against her chest. This is what I came for. Umstead, slowly. He understood now. This wasn't about secrets or scandals. This was about protecting someone's private thoughts. Their humanity. Kate looked at him directly. James, I need to ask you something important. And I need you to be honest, of course. Did you read anything in here? Any of the letters or journals? James shook his head. Just one line. About the crown feeling heavy. Kate's expression softened. That sounds like her. She placed the journal carefully in her coat pocket and looked around the room one last time. She loved this place, Kate said quietly. She told me that sometimes, late at night, she would come here and just sit. No advisors. No responsibilities. Just her and her thoughts. James felt a lump forming in his throat. 23 years of service. And he had never truly understood the weight these people carried. Kate moved toward the door, then stopped. She turned back. James, there's something else. His stomach tightened. What is it? Kate's expression changed. Something darker crossed her face. Worry. When I was last here with her, she told me something. She said this room had been built for her by someone she trusted completely. Someone outside the family. Someone who understood the need for privacy. She never told me the name. But she said that person left something else hidden in this room. Something important. Something that could change everything if it was found. James felt cold. What kind of thing? Kate shook her head. She didn't say. But she told me that if anyone ever discovered this room, I needed to search it carefully. Find whatever was hidden, and decide whether it should see the light of day. They both stood in silence, looking at the small space with new eyes. Somewhere in this room was another secret, and they had to find it. Asterisk. James swept his flashlight across every surface. Slowly, methodically, Kate began searching the bookshelf, pulling volumes out one by one, checking behind them. Her movements were careful but urgent. What exactly are we looking for? James asked. I don't know, Kate admitted. She said I would know it when I saw it. They worked in silence. The only sounds were pages rustling and objects being carefully moved. James checked the desk drawers. Letters, stationery, a collection of pressed flowers. but nothing that seemed hidden or unusual. Kate ran her hands along the edges of the bookshelf, feeling for loose panels or hidden compartments. Nothing. Minutes passed. Then 10. Then 15. James began to wonder if they would find anything at all. Maybe the Queen had been mistaken. Maybe age and memory had... Wait. Kate's voice cut through the silence. She was crouching near the floor, examining the bottom corner of the bookshelf. Her fingers traced something invisible to James's eye. There's a seam here, look. James knelt beside her. She was right. The wood panel at the base of the shelf didn't quite match. It was newer, cleaner. Kate pressed it. Nothing happened. She tried sliding it. Still nothing. Then James noticed something. A small carving in the wood grain. So subtle it looked natural. But it wasn't. It was a symbol. A crown with a single star above it. Try pressing that, he said. Pointing. Kate placed her finger on the carving and pushed. Click. The panel swung inward, revealing a small, hollow space behind it. Inside was a metal box, about the size of a book, sealed with a combination lock. Kate carefully lifted it out. Her hands trembled slightly. Do you know the combination? James asked. Kate stared at the lock. 3 numbers. She thought for a moment, then slowly turned the dials to 1, 9. The Queen's birthday. The lock clicked open. Kate lifted the lid. Inside were 3 items: a USB drive, a handwritten letter, and a photograph. Kate picked up the photograph first. Her breath caught. James couldn't see it clearly in the dim light, but he saw Kate's expression change. Shock, confusion, something else. What is it? He asked gently. Kate didn't answer immediately. She stared at the photo, her eyes wide. Finally, she spoke, her voice tight. This is impossible. She handed him the photograph. James looked at it. His mind struggled to make sense of what he was seeing. It was an old photo, maybe 40 years old, judging by the color and quality. It showed 2 women sitting on a garden bench. One was clearly a young Queen Elizabeth. The other woman looked almost identical to her. Same features, same posture, same regal bearing. But it wasn't the Queen. Who is that? James whispered. Kate shook her head slowly. I don't know. But according to this, she held up the handwritten letter, her voice unsteady. ... This woman was the Queen's twin sister. The words hung in the air like smoke. Twin sister. James felt his reality tilting. That's impossible. There's no record of, I know, Kate interrupted. But this letter is in her handwriting. I'm certain of it. She began reading aloud, her voice barely steady. To whoever finds this, what I am about to tell you has been hidden for 73 years. My sister, Margaret Rosenow, not the Margaret you know from history, my twin sister, was born 11 minutes after me. Our parents made a choice that night, a choice that would protect us both, they believed. Only one of us could be raised as heir to the throne. Only one of us could bear that burden. They chose me. My sister was sent away, given to a trusted family, given a different life, a normal life. We were told we could never meet, never acknowledge each other. The crown could not be divided or questioned. But I found her. Years later, we met in secret. And for 40 years we had this. These stolen moments. This room became our meeting place. She was my mirror, my shadow self, the person I might have been if fate had chosen differently. She died last year, quietly, peacefully. No one knew who she really was, and that is how it must remain. But I couldn't let her disappear completely. This box contains the truth. Her story, our story. Whoever finds this must decide. Does the world need to know? Or should some secrets stay buried with those who kept them? Kate's voice faded to silence. James felt like the ground had disappeared beneath him. A twin sister, hidden for an entire lifetime. He looked at Kate. What's on the USB drive? Kate's hand moved toward it, then stopped. Her eyes met his. I don't know if I should look, she whispered. Once I know what's on it, I can't unknow it, and I'll have to make a choice. A choice that could change everything. James understood. This wasn't just about history. This was about protecting someone's memory, someone's sacrifice. Kate's hand trembled as she picked up the USB drive. "There's a laptop in the outer office," James said. "We could know." Kate's voice was firm. "Not here. Not now. I need time to think." She carefully placed everything back in the metal box and closed it. But as she stood, James saw something else in the hollow space behind the panel. A small envelope, sealed with red wax. Kate hadn't seen it. James reached in and pulled it out. The wax seal bore the same symbol. A crown with a star. "There's more," he said quietly. Kate turned. Her face went pale when she saw the envelope. On the front, written in faded ink, was a single name. Catherine. Kate's hands shook as she took the envelope. Her name. Written in the Queen's handwriting. "She knew," Kate whispered. "She knew I would be the one to find this." James watched as Kate carefully broke the wax seal. Inside was a single page. Folded once, Kate unfolded it and began to read. Her eyes moved across the words. Once, then again. Then a third time, tears started falling. Silent, steady. James wanted to ask what it said, but he knew this moment wasn't his. This was between Kate and a woman who had trusted her with something precious. Finally, Kate looked up. Her eyes were red, but her voice was clear. "She's asking me to finish something she couldn't." "What do you mean?" Kate folded the letter carefully and held it against her heart. The woman in the photograph, the twin sister. She had a daughter, and that daughter had a son. He's alive. Living in Scotland, he has no idea who his grandmother really was. James felt his pulse quicken. "A direct bloodline descendant of..." "Yes," Kate interrupted. "And according to this letter, the Queen spent the last years of her life trying to decide if he should be told the truth. She never reached a decision. She ran out of time." Kate's voice grew stronger, more determined. "She's asking me to find him, meet him, and decide whether he deserves to know his family history, or whether that knowledge would destroy the peaceful life he's built." James ran a hand through his hair. This was bigger than anything he'd imagined. "What are you going to do?" Kate looked at the letter again, then at the metal box, then at James. "I'm going to do what she asked. I'm going to find him. That's a massive decision, I know." Kate's expression was resolute, but she trusted me with this, and I won't let her down. She placed the letter in her coat pocket alongside the journal she had retrieved earlier. Then she picked up the metal box. "James, I need one more thing from you. Anything. Need you to seal this room, officially. Report it to your superiors as a historical storage. It's a space that was accidentally discovered. Nothing more. Don't mention what you found inside. Don't mention my visit here tonight." "Oh." James hesitated. "That's asking me to lie in my report." "I know." Kate's voice was gentle but firm. "And I wouldn't ask if it wasn't necessary. This room needs to be protected, studied carefully, by the right people, not turned into a media spectacle." James thought about his oath, his duty, his 23 years of service. Then he thought about the words he had read on that journal page, about the weight of the crown, about needing one small space to simply be human. He nodded. "I'll report it as you asked, thank you." Kate reached out and squeezed his hand. A brief, warm gesture. "You're a good man, James. She would have trusted you too." They left the room together. James sealed the hidden door carefully. It disappeared once again into the ancient stone wall. Kate turned to leave, then stopped. She looked back at James one last time. "Whatever happens next, whatever I decide about the man in Scotland, I want you to know something. Finding this room tonight, helping me protect her memory, you've done something important, something that matters." James nodded. His throat was too tight to speak. Kate walked away, her footsteps echoing down the corridor until they faded into silence. James stood alone in the darkness. He looked at the wall where the hidden room lay concealed. A secret within a secret. A life within a life. He pressed his radio. "This is Carter. I need to report a discovery in the East Wing. As he waited for the response, he wondered about the man in Scotland. The one who had no idea that royal blood flowed through his veins. Would Kate tell him? Should she? Some truths set people free. Others destroy them, James hoped, for everyone's sake, that Kate would choose wisely. But as he walked back to the checkpoint, another thought crept into his mind. One that made his stomach turn cold. If the Queen had a hidden twin sister for 73 years, what else had been hidden? What other secrets lived in the walls of this castle? And who else might be looking for them? 3 days later, Kate stood outside a small cottage in the Scottish Highlands. Rain fell in sheets, blurring the mountains in the distance. The cottage looked warm. Smoke rose from the chimney. A dog barked somewhere inside. Kate had driven here alone. No security, no staff. Just her and the weight of the decision she was about to make. She had spent the last 3 days reading everything on the USB drive. Letters, diary, entries, photographs, the complete story of two sisters separated by birth order and destiny, and she had read about him. The grandson, 34 years old, a veterinarian, unmarried, living a quiet life in a village, so small it barely appeared on maps. His name was Thomas Hartley. He had his great-grandmother's eyes. Kate had seen it in the photos. The same sharp, intelligent gaze. She stepped up to the door. Her hand raised to knock. Then she stopped. Once she did this, everything would change. For him, for the family, for history itself. She thought about the letter the Queen had written to her. The final lines. Some secrets protect people. Others imprison them. You will know which this is. Trust yourself, Catherine. I always have. Kate knocked. Footsteps inside. The door opened. A tall man with kind eyes and graying hair stood in the doorway. He wore a worn sweater and held a cup of tea. Can I help you? He asked. Kate looked at him. Really looked at him. She saw the resemblance immediately. The high cheekbones. The way he held himself. Mr. Hartley. Yes. Kate took a breath. My name is Catherine. I knew your grandmother, and I need to tell you something about your family. Something important. Thomas's expression shifted. Confusion. Curiosity. I don't understand. My grandmother passed away 15 years ago. I know, Kate said gently. But there's something about her life that no one ever told you. Something she wanted you to know. And I promised someone very important that I would be the one to tell you. Thomas studied her face. Recognition dawned slowly. You're the Princess of Wales. Kate nodded. Thomas stepped back, stunned. What are you doing here? May I come in? Kate asked. This will take some time to explain. Thomas led her inside with shaking hands. The cottage was small, but comfortable. Books lined the walls. Fire crackled in the stone fireplace. The dog, a border collie, watched Kate with curious eyes. They sat across from each other. Thomas on the worn sofa, Kate in an armchair. For a long moment neither spoke. Then Thomas broke the silence. You said you knew my grandmother? Kate chose her words carefully. Not exactly. I knew someone who knew her very well. Someone who loved her deeply. She reached into her bag and pulled out the photograph. The one showing to women on a garden bench. She handed it to Thomas. Do you recognize anyone in this photo? Thomas studied it, his brow furrowed. That's Queen Elizabeth. Hey, but I don't understand. Who's the other woman? Look closer. Thomas's eyes narrowed, then widened. His hands started to tremble. She looks exactly like the photos I have of my grandmother. His voice cracked. But that's impossible. My grandmother was never at royal events. She was just a normal person. Kate leaned forward. Thomas, what I'm about to tell you will sound unbelievable, but every word is true. She told him everything. About the hidden room, the letter, the secret that had been kept for 73 years. Thomas listened in complete silence. His face went pale, then red, then pale again. When Kate finished, he stood abruptly and walked to the window, his back to her, shoulders rigid. You're telling me that my grandmother was Queen Elizabeth's twin sister? Yes, and that means I'm a direct bloodline descendant of King George VI. Thomas laughed, but it wasn't a happy sound. It was the laugh of someone whose entire reality had just shattered. This is insane. This can't be real. I have documents, Kate said gently. Birth records that were sealed. Letters in the Queen's own handwriting. DNA evidence that she collected privately. Everything you need to verify the truth. Thomas turned around. His eyes were wet. Why? Why are you telling me this now? Why did she keep it secret? Kate stood and moved closer. Because she wanted to protect you and protect her sister. If the truth had come out while they were alive, it would have caused a constitutional crisis. Questions about succession, about legitimacy. It would have torn apart two families. But now she's gone. And she wanted you to have a choice, to know your history, to decide for yourself whether this knowledge is a gift or a burden. Thomas sank back onto the sofa. He put his head in his hands. I don't know what to do with this information, he whispered. Kate sat beside him. You don't have to do anything. The Queen made it very clear. This truth belongs to you now. You can keep it private, take it to your grave, or you can share it. But that decision is yours alone. They sat in silence. The fire popped and crackled. The dog settled at Thomas's feet. Finally, Thomas looked up. Tell me about her, my grandmother, the Queen. What was she like? Kate smiled, a sad, gentle smile. She was the strongest person I ever met, but she was also the loneliest. She carried the weight of an entire nation on her shoulders, and she did it with grace. Did she ever regret it? At taking the crown instead of her sister? Kate thought about the journal entries she had read, the late-night confessions written in that hidden room. I think she wondered what her life might have been like if the choice had been different. But regret? No. She believed in duty above everything. She honored that belief until her last breath. Moss nodded slowly. My grandmother, my real grandmother, she never told me any of this. She died when I was 19. Loving, kind. She baked bread and tended her garden and told me stories about birds. That's because she got to live the life her sister couldn't, Kate said. She got to be normal. That was her gift. Thomas wiped his eyes. What do you think I should do? Kate shook her head. I can't answer that. But I can tell you what the Queen wrote in her letter to me. She said that some people are born to carry crowns, and others are born to carry the memory of those crowns. Both are important. Both are necessary. Thomas looked at the photograph again. Two women, identical faces, different destinies. If I tell people, it changes everything. For me, for my life. Yes, and if I don't, then this story ends here. With you. And maybe that's the right ending. Thomas stood and walked to the fireplace. He stared into the flames for a long time. Then he made his decision. He turned to Kate with clear eyes. I need time to process this, to figure out what it means. But I need you to promise me something. What is it? Promise me that no matter what I decide, you'll help me protect this secret until I'm ready? Don't let anyone else find out. Not yet. Kate stood. Promise. Thomas held out his hand. Kate shook it. His grip was firm.
Yes.
Steady. Thank you for telling me, he said. I know it couldn't have been easy. She trusted me with it. Now I'm trusting you. Kate moved toward the door, but Thomas called out, Wait, there's something I need to ask. Kate turned. Thomas's expression was troubled. If my grandmother was the Queen's twin, and if this was such a huge secret, how many people knew? Very few. Maybe 5 people total, over 70 years. And they all kept it quiet? Yes. Thomas's jaw tightened. Now why do I have this feeling that we're not the only ones looking for answers? Kate felt ice crawl down her spine. What do you mean? Days ago, someone broke into my grandmother's old house, the one I inherited. They didn't take anything valuable. It's just old papers, photo albums, documents from before I was born. Kate's blood went cold. Did you report it? It's the local police, yes, but they said it was probably just kids, nothing important stolen. Kate's mind raced. Someone else knew, or suspected, and they were searching. Thomas, I need you to pack a bag, right now. What? Kate's voice was urgent. Because if someone is looking for proof of your grandmother's identity, you might not be safe. And neither is the evidence I've been carrying. Thomas stared at her. You think someone would hurt me over this? Kate thought about the weight of the crown, about power, about secrets that could reshape history. I think we need to be very careful. Starting now. Kate made 3 phone calls while Thomas packed. The first was to James. I need you to check something. Quietly, has anyone accessed the hidden room since we sealed it? James's voice crackled through. No, why? Just keep it monitored. And don't trust anyone who asks about it, not even senior officials. The second call was to her personal security team. I need a safe house. Immediately, Scotland, no paper trail. The third call was to someone she had never wanted to contact for something like this. A historian, an expert on royal secrets. Someone the Queen had mentioned once in her journals, Dr. Helena Price. Dr. Price, this is Catherine. I need to meet with you tonight. It's urgent. The voice on the other end was cautious. Royal Highness. What is this regarding? Something you've spent 30 years researching, and I have proof. A long pause. Then, I'll be there. Kate ended the call and looked at Thomas. He stood by the door with a small duffel bag, his face pale but determined. Where are we going? He asked. Somewhere safe, till we understand who's looking for this information and why. They left the cottage through the back door. Kate's car was parked a quarter-mile down a dirt road. They walked in silence, the rain soaking through their clothes. As they reached the car, Kate heard something. Sound that didn't belong. Another engine. Coming fast. Get in, she said urgently. Thomas threw his bag in the back and climbed into the passenger seat. Kate started the engine and pulled onto the narrow road. Behind them, headlights appeared through the rain. Following, Kate pressed the accelerator. The car sped forward, tires slipping on the wet road. Are they following us? Thomas asked. His voice tight, Kate watched the rearview mirror. The headlights stayed close. Too close. Yes. Her mind raced. This road led to the main highway. Once they reached it, they'd have options. But until then, they were trapped on a single-lane path with forest on both sides. The car behind them accelerated, getting closer. Kate pushed the car faster. Speedometer climbed, 50, 60, 70, too fast for these conditions. A sharp turn appeared ahead. Kate braked hard, felt the car slide, corrected, and made it through. The car behind them wasn't as lucky. Kate heard the screech of tires. A crash. Metal against wood. She glanced in the mirror. The headlights had stopped moving. Are they okay? Thomas asked. Kate slowed down but didn't stop. I don't know, but we can't stay to find out. They reached the highway 10 minutes later. Kate pulled into a rest stop and finally allowed herself to breathe. Who were they? Thomas's voice shook. I don't know, but someone wants what we have, and they're willing to take risks to get it. Kate pulled out her phone and called Dr. Price again. We have a problem. Someone just tried to follow us. Then you need to get to Edinburgh. Now. I have a secure location, and I think I know who's behind this, who. Not over the phone. Just get here. I'll explain everything. Kate ended the call and looked at Thomas. Are you okay? He nodded, but his hands were shaking. This is really happening, yes? You think this is all about my grandmother? About the secret. Kate hesitated. Then she told him the truth. I think it's about more than that. I think someone has been searching for proof of the twin sister for years, and now that the Queen is gone, they're making their move. What does it matter now? Kate's expression darkened. Because if your grandmother was the Queen's twin, and if you're her direct descendant, then technically, ... She paused. Then technically, you have as much claim to the throne as anyone in the current line of succession. Thomas's face went white. That's insane. I don't want it. I know you don't. But someone else might want it for you, or might want to use that claim to destabilize everything. They sat in silence. The rain drummed on the roof. The weight of the revelation settled over them like a heavy blanket. Finally, Thomas spoke. What do we do? Kate started the car again. We get to Edinburgh. We meet Dr. Price, and we figure out how to protect this secret before it tears everything apart. They drove through the night. The roads were empty. The rain never stopped. When they finally reached Edinburgh 3 hours later, dawn was breaking over the city. Dr. Price met them at a private entrance to the university library. She was in her 60s, with sharp eyes and an air of quiet authority. "Inside, quickly," she said. They followed her through corridors lined with ancient books, down a set of stone stairs into a basement archive room. Dr. Price locked the door behind them and turned to face Kate. "You have it, don't you?" "The proof." Kate pulled out the metal box. "Everything. Documents, photos, DNA evidence." Dr. Price's hands trembled as she took it. She opened it carefully, her eyes scanning the contents. Then she looked up, her expression grave. "You need to understand something. This secret didn't die with the Queen. It's been passed down, guarded, by a group of people who have spent decades making sure it never came to light." "Who?" Kate demanded. "Former advisors, historians, even members of Parliament. People who believe that revealing this truth would destroy the monarchy's legitimacy. And they will do anything to keep it buried." Thomas stepped forward. "So what do we do? Destroy the evidence?" Dr. Price shook her head. "It's too late for that. They know it exists, and they know you have it. If you destroy it now, they'll assume you're hiding something even worse. Then what?" Kate's voice was firm. "What's the solution?" Dr. Price looked at each of them in turn. "You go public. Before they can control the narrative, you tell the truth. All of it. And you let the world decide what it means." Kate felt her heart pound. "That could cause a constitutional crisis," Dr. Price said quietly. "It could finally free the monarchy from a lie it's been carrying for 73 years. Thomas looked at Kate. "She's right. Secrets like this don't stay buried. They poison everything around them until they finally explode." Kate thought about the Queen's letter, about trust, about choosing what kind of truth to tell. She made her decision. "Then we do it. But we do it right. We control how the story is told. We make sure it honors both women, the one who wore the crown and the one who carried the secret." Dr. Price nodded. "I can help with that. I have contacts, journalists who will tell this story with integrity." Kate pulled out her phone. "Then let's start now, before anyone else gets hurt." As she began making calls, Thomas walked to the window. He stared out at the city, waking up below them. "My whole life just changed," he said quietly. Kate joined him at the window. "Yes, but you get to decide what that change means. That's more power than most people ever have." Thomas smiled. A small, sad smile. "I think my grandmother would have liked you. I think she would have been proud of you." Outside, the sun broke through the clouds. Light spilled across the ancient stones of Edinburgh. A new day. A new truth. A new chapter in a very old story. And somewhere in the walls of Windsor Castle, in a hidden room that smelled of lavender and old paper, the memory of two sisters rested peacefully at last. Their secret was finally free, and so were the people who had carried it.